What if I told you that millions of lives are about to change forever in America? Congress just passed the most significant immigration reform in decades, and if you or someone you know has been waiting for legal status, a green card, or citizenship, this could be the moment you've been praying for. The numbers are staggering, the implications are massive, and the details are something every single person needs to understand right now. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how this historic legislation affects you, your family, and the future of immigration in the United States. This isn't just another political story. This is about real people, real dreams, and real opportunities that are finally becoming reality. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, you've arrived at exactly the right time, because today we're breaking down something absolutely monumental. After years of debates, political gridlock, and countless failed attempts, Congress has finally passed comprehensive immigration reform that's been called the most transformative legislation since the Immigration Act of 1990. We're talking about changes that will affect millions of undocumented immigrants, DACA recipients, green card applicants, and skilled workers who have been stuck in impossible backlogs for years or even decades. This reform package addresses nearly every major pain point in our current immigration system, from pathways to citizenship to family reunification, from employment-based visas to border security measures. The bill has already passed both the House and the Senate with bipartisan support, and it's headed to the President's desk for signature. What makes this even more remarkable is that this kind of sweeping reform seemed almost impossible just months ago, yet here we are, witnessing history in the making. Throughout this video, I'm going to walk you through every major provision of this legislation, explain who benefits and how, discuss the timeline for implementation, and address the questions I know you're all asking. Make sure you stick around until the end, because I'll be sharing resources and next steps you need to take if this reform applies to you or your loved ones. And if you find this information valuable, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss critical updates that could change your life. Now let's dive deep into what Congress just passed and what it means for millions of people across America. Let's start with arguably the most significant aspect of this reform, the creation of a clear pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who have been living in the United States. This provision addresses the status of approximately 11 million people who have been living in the shadows, contributing to our economy and communities but without legal recognition. Under this new legislation, undocumented immigrants who have been continuously present in the United States for at least 5 years as of the date the bill was introduced will be eligible to apply for a new provisional legal status. This isn't amnesty in the traditional sense. There are requirements and processes involved, but it does provide a genuine opportunity that hasn't existed in this form before. To qualify for this provisional status, applicants must pass background checks, demonstrate that they have no serious criminal record, pay any outstanding taxes, and pay a processing fee. Those with serious criminal convictions, including felonies and certain misdemeanors, will not be eligible. Once granted provisional status, individuals will be authorized to work legally in the United States and will be protected from deportation while maintaining this status. After holding provisional status for 6 years and meeting additional requirements including proof of employment or education, payment of taxes, and continued good moral character, individuals can apply for lawful permanent residence, commonly known as a green card. The journey doesn't end there. After holding a green card for 3 years under this program, individuals will be eligible to apply for United States citizenship through naturalization. This means that the total pathway from undocumented status to citizenship could take approximately 10 years for those who entered the process from the beginning. For many families who have lived in uncertainty for decades, this represents hope and stability that seemed unimaginable just a short time ago. Revolutionary changes to employment-based immigration. For skilled workers, professionals, and those in employment-based immigration categories, this reform represents perhaps the most dramatic overhaul in modern history. The legislation addresses the crushing backlogs that have left hundreds of thousands of people, particularly from countries like India and China, waiting decades for green cards despite having approved petitions. First and foremost, The reform eliminates the per-country caps on employment-based immigrant visas. Under the old system, no single country could receive more than 7% of available green cards in any category, which created massive disparities and wait times. With per-country caps eliminated, green cards will be allocated based on priority date and category alone, regardless of country of origin. This means that a highly skilled worker from India with a priority date from 2012 will no longer be stuck behind someone from a country with shorter wait times who filed years later. The change is expected to clear significant portions of the backlog within the first few years of implementation. Additionally, the legislation increases the annual cap on employment-based green cards from approximately 140,000 to 250,000. This substantial increase acknowledges the realities of our modern economy and the demand for skilled workers across industries, from technology to healthcare to engineering. The reform also modernizes the H-1B visa program, which has been a source of controversy and frustration for both employers and foreign workers. The annual cap for H-1B visas increases from 85,000 to 130,000, with provisions for automatic increases based on economic demand. The legislation includes stronger protections against abuse, ensuring that H-1B workers are paid prevailing wages and that the program isn't used to undercut American workers. There are also new provisions allowing H-1B visa holders to change jobs more easily and providing work authorization for their spouses, addressing long-standing concerns about dependency and career interruption. For those on H-1B visas who have approved green card petitions but are stuck in backlogs, the legislation provides what's been called bridge status. This allows workers to extend their H-1B status indefinitely while waiting for their green card number to become available, eliminating the previous 6-year limitation that forced many talented individuals to leave the United States despite having jobs and approved petitions. These changes combined represent a recognition that high-skilled immigration is not just about filling jobs, but about enabling innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic growth that benefits everyone. Family-based immigration and reducing separation. Family reunification has always been a cornerstone of American immigration policy, and this reform strengthens and modernizes these provisions significantly. The legislation increases the annual cap on family-sponsored green cards from approximately 226,000 to 350,000. This increase is specifically designed to reduce the backlogs that have kept families separated for years or even decades. Spouses and minor children of lawful permanent residents are now exempt from numerical caps entirely, allowing them to immigrate immediately once petitions are approved. This change alone will reunite hundreds of thousands of families who have been forced to wait years while living apart. For adult children and siblings of United States citizens, while these categories still have numerical limits, the increased caps and elimination of per-country limits in family categories will substantially reduce wait times. The reform also addresses a painful issue that has affected many families: the problem of aging out. Under previous law, children included in their parents' green card applications could age out and lose their eligibility when they turned 21, forcing families to start the process over. The new legislation fixes this by raising the age limit to 25 and allowing children who aged out under the old rules to reclaim their place in line. This compassionate provision recognizes that administrative delays shouldn't tear families apart. Another significant change involves parents of Dark EA recipients and other dreamers. The legislation creates a new pathway for parents of individuals who gain status under the reform to apply for their own legal status, acknowledging that many of these parents have also been contributing members of communities for years. Implementation, timeline, and what happens next. Understanding when these provisions take effect is crucial for anyone planning to benefit from this reform. The legislation includes a phased implementation timeline that begins as soon as the President signs the bill into law. Within 90 days of enactment, the Department of Homeland Security must publish detailed regulations and application procedures for the Provisional Status Program. This means that the agencies have 3 months to create the forms, establish the processes, and train personnel to handle what will inevitably be millions of applications. The application period for provisional status is expected to open approximately 6 months after the bill is signed, giving both the government and potential applicants time to prepare. Applications will be accepted on a rolling basis, so there's no advantage to rushing to submit on the very first day other than potentially receiving a decision sooner. For DACA recipients seeking to adjust to permanent residence, the application process is expected to open even sooner, potentially within 4 months of enactment, because this population is already documented and has been vetted through the dossier program. The employment-based visa changes, including the elimination of per-country caps and the increase in annual numbers, will take effect for the next fiscal year following enactment. This means that if the bill is signed in the current fiscal year, the changes would apply beginning October 1st of the following year. However, the bridge status provisions for H-1B holders will take effect immediately upon enactment, providing relief to workers who might otherwise be approaching their maximum stay limits. Family-based immigration changes will similarly apply to the fiscal year following enactment, though the provisions exempting spouses and children of permanent residents from caps will take effect immediately. It's also worth noting that the legislation includes provisions for hiring additional immigration officers, judges, and support staff to handle the expected surge in applications. The government is allocating resources specifically to prevent the kind of processing delays that have plagued the immigration system in the past. Who should take action and how? If you or someone you know might benefit from this reform, understanding what steps to take now is essential. For undocumented immigrants who have been in the United States for at least 5 years, the first step is gathering documentation that proves your continuous presence. This includes things like rental agreements, utility bills, employment records, tax returns, school records, and medical records. The more documentation you can compile showing your presence and ties to the community, the stronger your application will be. It's also crucial to ensure that any tax obligations are current, or that you have payment plans in place for any outstanding amounts. Consulting with a qualified immigration attorney is highly recommended before submitting any applications. While the application process is designed to be accessible, having professional guidance can help avoid mistakes that might delay your case or create complications. For DACA recipients, the process should be relatively straightforward since you've already been through significant vetting. However, you'll still need to gather supporting documents and potentially obtain new background checks. Keep all of your DIATSA approval notices and related correspondence, as these will be important parts of your green card application. If you're in an employment-based immigration category, particularly if you're from a country that has faced long backlogs, now is the time to ensure that all of your paperwork is in order and up to date. Check with your employer's immigration attorney about when you'll be able to file for adjustment of status under the new system. For families waiting to be reunited, verify that your petitions are still active and that all information on file is current. Contact changes, marriage, or the birth of children need to be reported to ensure your case progresses smoothly when numbers become available. One critical warning for everyone watching this: beware of immigration scams and notario fraud. Whenever major immigration legislation passes, unscrupulous individuals emerge claiming they can guarantee approvals or offering services they're not qualified to provide. Only work with licensed attorneys or accredited representatives recognized by the Department of Justice. The broader impact on American society and economy. Beyond the direct effects on individuals and families, this immigration reform will have wide-ranging impacts on American society and the economy. Economists who have analyzed the legislation estimate that it could add hundreds of billions of dollars to the gross domestic product over the next decade by bringing millions of workers fully into the formal economy, increasing tax revenues, and enabling greater labor mobility and entrepreneurship. For communities with large undocumented populations, the reform means greater stability and integration. When people have legal status and a pathway to citizenship, they invest more in their communities, start businesses at higher rates, purchase homes, and participate more fully in civic life. Many entrepreneurs who have been stuck in visa limbo will finally be able to start companies, creating jobs and driving innovation. Educational institutions will also benefit as international students see clearer pathways to remain in the United States after graduation, potentially increasing enrollment and ensuring that people educated in American universities can contribute their skills to the American economy. The family reunification provisions will have profound social benefits by ending the long separations that have caused trauma and hardship for countless families. Children will be able to grow up with both parents, elderly relatives will be able to join their families, and the stress and uncertainty that has hung over mixed-status households will finally lift. At the same time, the reform will reduce strain on immigration enforcement resources by creating legal channels for people who would otherwise remain in or attempt to enter the country without authorization. This allows enforcement to focus on genuine security threats rather than people simply seeking opportunity. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone you think might benefit from this information. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to something as life-changing as immigration reform. Drop a comment below telling me what aspect of this reform affects you most, or what questions you still have. I read every comment, and your feedback helps me create content that truly serves your needs. There will be more developments, more details to understand, and more stories to tell as millions of people begin their journeys toward legal status and citizenship. I'm honored to be here helping you navigate these changes, and I'm committed to bringing you accurate, timely, and actionable information every step of the way. Thank you so much for watching, for trusting me with your time, and for being part of this community. Stay informed, stay hopeful, and remember that change is possible when people come together with courage and determination. I'll see you in the next video.